At airports across the US, protesters have raised their voice. A spontaneous chorus in support of ordinary people, and in outrage at an executive order that they say singles out Muslims. On Friday, US President Donald Trump enforced a 90-day travel ban on citizens of Syria, Iraq, Iran, Yemen, Libya, Sudan and Somalia. All are predominantly Muslim nations. Then word spread that even green card holders and travellers with valid visas were being prevented from entering the US. The American Civil Liberties Union stepped in, lodging a case for a temporary delay in implementing the order.
We asked the judge to hold everything in place. We believe this executive order is clearly unlawful. The government may not send anybody back until she finally rules. Everyone now who came is safe.
This Iranian woman, a green card holder, was released after being detained for 12 hours at Los Angeles airport. Her baby is a US citizen. She was one of the lucky ones. Nail Zain is a Syrian who was due to fly from Istanbul to Los Angeles when the ban came in.
My wife and my son in United States, and we are waiting this moment since 2 years. Finally, when we got the chance, they prevent us as Syrian passport holder to travel.
Trump had raised the prospect of a ban on Muslims during his campaign run.
Donald J. Trump is calling for a total and complete shutdown of Muslims entering the United States.
Soon after, his now Vice President, Mike Pence, responded by saying calls to ban Muslims from entering the US are offensive and unconstitutional. But it didn't stop the president from signing the order known as Protecting the Nation from Foreign Terrorist Entry into the United States. In addition to banning travel from 7 Muslim-majority countries for 90 days, it puts a 4-month freeze on all refugee admissions and indefinitely bans Syrian refugees. In the order, Trump referred to the attacks of September 11 3 times. Those attackers did not come from any of the countries on the new travel ban list. The order was brought in so quickly that Customs and Border Protection agents, the frontline workers who have to implement it, didn't know about it until the day of release.
We're totally prepared. It's working out very nicely. You see it at the airports, you see it all over. It's working out very nicely. And we're going to have a very, very strict ban, and we're going to have extreme vetting.
The rapid introduction of the order raises questions about what other measures could be in the works and which other communities could be in Trump's sights. Natalie Pohonen, The Newsmakers.
Well, joining me now from New York is Omar Mohammadi. He is the president of the Association of Muslim American Lawyers, and from Fort Lauderdale in Florida, John Cardillo. He's a former New York City police officer and is now a syndicated radio host. Gentlemen, thank you very much for joining us. Let me start with you, John Cardillo. Those people, those nationals from Syria, Iran, Sudan, Libya, Somalia, Yemen and Iraq, is it right that they are currently barred from entering the United States?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Our vetting process is fundamentally flawed. The Obama administration fed Americans a very bad bill of goods as to the efficacy of that vetting. The vetting starts, in many cases, with self-generated documents, so it's flawed from the get-go. But all of that aside, federal law, Section 1182F of federal immigration law, gives the President of the United States the discretion to determine if any group of aliens might be detrimental to the security of Americans, and again, gives the President the discretion to set a proclamation, an executive order, to ban that group until such time as the threat is mitigated or vanquished altogether. So what the president has done is legal, and it's sound security policy.
Legal and sound security policy, Omar?
It is not sound security policy. It might be legal, but also there are a lot of issues here. If this executive order is based on religion, it might be some constitutional issues here that we have to deal with. I think vetting process It doesn't have to be an executive order to bar refugees, which United States has signed the Geneva Convention on Refugees. So it is morally, it's a problem. As far as legal, there are a lot of issues this we need to deal with. As far as vetting process, I think it could be better than banning people from certain countries based on their religion.
John, do you know of anyone from any of those countries that we mentioned who slipped through the net in the United States and committed an attack over the past few years where the system failed?
Well, I think we've seen people come in from countries. We know that almost 300,000 people from 34 nations of terror concern have come illegally across our southern border. But that's irrelevant. That's really a red herring. We don't leave the doors of a bank open. We don't leave the vault open at night because that bank hasn't already been robbed. We lock it down because we know there are bad actors out there who will rob the bank if it's not secured.
Well, I don't think it's a red herring
like
because
we do banks and stores.
Hold on. The United States hasn't been attacked by anyone from any of those countries, and we include green card holders and dual nationals and others. In modern history, we haven't got a single example of any of them slipping through this vetting process, which takes about 18 months. So what's the problem?
Well, you say we haven't been attacked. True. But how about all the attacks that have been stopped by our intelligence community that are classified that you and I don't know about? See, those are the ones that I care more about, the ones we've stopped. So in reality, sitting here, we don't know if terrorists from those countries have slipped through and were stopped by our intelligence and law enforcement people. Intelligence estimates handed to President Trump dictated that these were the countries placed on the ban list. I trust our intelligence and law enforcement community.
Omar Mohammadi, do you trust the intelligence and law enforcement community?
I think when you designate countries arbitrarily, this is the country were chosen with arbitration. You don't even know what the criteria is for these countries that were chosen. So I think security is very important to the United States. However, it has to be based on evidence on issues that are affecting national security, not just go and list few countries who, some of them actually, that have been helpful to the United States, such as Sudan, have been trying to work with the United States. And I don't think this is the right way of trying to establish security. I think it will create more a backlash than establishing security. Also, I would like to address the issues with green card holders. I mean, those people have been living in this country for years. Now, all of a sudden, they are a security threat, and also the way this executive order has been executed, it's a chaos. Look at the airports, what's happening. People coming who actually came back and went to visit their own countries. They came back, green card holders, that they are separated from their families. Is this the way how we create national security? This is how we establish national security? I don't think that's the case. I really do not believe that's the case.
John, let me ask you about this kind of tit for tat that's happening. So you have the Iranians saying they don't want to let in Americans. Muqtada al-Sadr in Iraq mobilizing his supporters to kick out Americans. You would accept that it was at great cost, hundreds, possibly thousands of American casualties gave their lives or these men were injured to get people like Muqtada al-Sadr on side and not be an enemy anymore in a place like Iraq. All of that's unraveling. Is it worth it?
Well, look, first of all, with regards to the interpreters and those who have assisted us, this order also gives the Secretary of Homeland Security full discretion on a case-by-case basis to admit those people. So that's really non-news. But look, Iraq has allowed ISIS to proliferate. Syria, we know what's going on in Syria. It's an absolute war zone. Iran is funding most of this. Another nation on the list is Somalia, where al-Shabaab is operating off the charts. This was a sound decision. And the argument that, well, this will cause more people to radicalize, look, as an American, as a security professional, if your bar to radicalization and terror was not obtaining a green card, well, you shouldn't be in the United States anyway. If this is what's going to make you kill, well, then we were right in stopping you. You shouldn't be here. So no, I think a lot of that is fear-mongering. I don't think it has any basis in reality.
Omar Mohammadi, we've seen examples over the weekend of border security rejecting and dismissing legal challenges against this ban. What does that tell you when it comes to your hopes of overturning this ban?
First of all, I do believe that is problematic for a judge to issue an order that is not followed. And I don't know what's going to happen moving forward. I don't know if there will be additional motions, but I would like to address the issue with green card holder that the gentleman mentioned now. We're not talking about people who are green card holder, they become radicalized. That is not the issue here. The issue about people who are not in this country, that it's creating more a backlash and you know, something like it's a good recruiting tool for ISIS. And I think that is what we're talking about. We're not talking people who are green card holders. I think to say something about green card holders, they are good, abiding citizens. They are contribute to this country. So they're like any other national, any other immigrant who came to this country for centuries. So I think to use that argument that because you're going, by issuing this order, you're going to radicalize people who are living in this country, who have green card, that is really a false argument to use. We're not talking about that. I think those are more of inhuman treatment of people who are living in this country, who have green card, they are not allowed to come back to their country. I think that is a problem we're dealing with now.
Okay, Omar Mohammadi and John Cardillo, unfortunately we are out of time, gentlemen. It's been good to talk to you. Thank you very much.